Well, my name is Bill, and I've been retired for 9 years now, which seems kind of odd. Yeah, I was in a significantly noisy environment, and so when it was that noisy, I didn't know if I had tinnitus or not because there was all these processor fans constantly running. And I'd had the lab checked a couple of times for the decibel ratings, and I was under, or the lab was under the recommended decibel rating for being a problem. So, but I think over a prolonged period of time of having been in that environment for that long, it definitely took its toll. I can remember some people when they would come in to the lab to see me, they wouldn't stay very long because it was rather noisy. They didn't understand how I could be in that environment all of that time. And well, it was my life. It was what I was supposed to do. Hearing loss for me crept up on me. So I wasn't really aware that I was having a hearing issues other than the tinnitus. At times I could hear the noises in my ears and stuff like that. So, and then as time went on, it got a little noisier. I'm not a huge television watcher, but when I was watching television, I would have the volume kind of high, and then as time went on, I would decrease the volume. But when the tinnitus would kick in, I'd have to turn the volume back up. So, and my tinnitus wasn't constant all of the time. It was just, sometimes it was loud, sometimes it wasn't so loud. So it was rather unknown for me anyway, until I had it checked. And then it was quite obvious. Well, the first appointment was kind of interesting because I really didn't know what to expect. I didn't know. I felt that I needed help, but I didn't know what kind of help I needed. So coming in and having you put me in the booth so that we could test where my problems were, I really wanted to know what in the world was going on. And I do remember in the booth that there was a lot of ranges of sounds that I had to acknowledge if I heard them. And I'm sure that there were some that I didn't hear, otherwise I wouldn't be having hearing aids, right? So I do believe that the amount of time that was spent on that, gosh, I think it was like almost 30 minutes, was significant because there were so many different tone ranges, not only in the low end, but also in the high end, that as time went on, and I've had the hearing aids now, I realized that the high end I was lacking in. I was kind of surprised that there was some treatment. And again, it's really non-invasive other than putting a hearing aid in. Because the tinnitus doesn't just happen right away and all of a sudden there you are and you got tinnitus. From my point of view, it was a very gradual change, and then finally I got annoying enough that I needed to go find some help. So yeah, you're right. It was kind of an interesting growing experience, but then once I got to a point, then I had to do something because it was quite annoying. Especially in an environment when you were talking and you couldn't hear very well. And if there was more than one person around, it was difficult as well. So it was difficult for me until after you pointed it out that there were different levels at times that the ears went through it. It's not a steady tone all of the time. And especially with me, it wasn't a steady tone all the time. And like I said before, it's very rare, even with the hearing aids in, that I even notice that the tinnitus is there. And that happened, I think, within the first couple of months, that it was pretty much taken care of. A lot of things have changed. I can not only hear better, but then I can hear things that I wasn't aware of. Well, hearing better. Like, well, I think I commented to you one time that I had no idea that the toilet float valve, I had no idea that it was leaking because it was a very high frequency. When I had the hearing aids in, then I walked by there, whoa, what is that? So I went in and I checked it out, and it was leaking. And I took my hearing aid out, and I couldn't hear it. So that helped me, and I don't know how long that was leaking. It was a very minute leak, but I had to replace that whole thing, and I was lucky I found it when I did. And then another thing that happened just recently, fluorescent lights in the fixtures, when they start to go out, there is a high frequency. And I was in an environment that I was the only one that could hear it, that it was starting to go out. I took my hearing aids out, and it wasn't there. I knew that I was having a problem, but I wasn't exactly sure what it was or how bad it was. Have it checked out. I mean, it wasn't anything to it, and there's nothing invasive about it. So just have it checked out.